Welcome back. That small Lincoln 1-cent coin in your pocket might be worth way more than you think. Some of these pennies, especially from certain years or with rare mint errors, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In this video, we'll show you exactly which 1-cent coins to look for and how to tell if you've got a hidden treasure. Let's get started. First up, 1980 for D. Lincoln 1-cent coin, condition good. This coin was produced at the Denver Mint, which is indicated by the small letter D beneath the date on the obverse side. The 1980 for Lincoln cent is part of the Lincoln Memorial Reverse series, which ran from 1959 to 2008, replacing the earlier wheat reverse design. It features the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, design by Victor David Brenner. This portrait has been used on the penny since 1909 and shows Lincoln facing right, with a calm and thoughtful expression. The obverse also includes the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," at the top, "Liberty" to the left of the portrait, and the year 1984, with the D mint mark on the right side. The reverse of the 1980 for Lincoln cent was designed by Frank Gasparo and features the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This reverse design includes clearly defined columns and a faint outline of the seated Lincoln statue between the central columns, which adds a level of detail to the coin. Above the memorial are the words "United States of America," with the motto "E pluribus unum" centered between them. The denomination 1 cent appears along the bottom in bold lettering. The reverse is symbolic not only of Lincoln's contributions to the country, but also of his lasting legacy as a leader who preserved the Union during one of the most difficult periods in American history. The composition of the 1980 for Lincoln cent was part of a newer copper-coated zinc formula that began in 1982. These coins are made of 97.5% zinc, with a thin copper plating making up the remaining 2.5%. This change was implemented to reduce the cost of coin production. As a result, the 1980 for penny weighs 2.5 grams, which is lighter than the earlier bronze cents that weighed 3.11 grams. It also has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, which is consistent with previous issues. In good condition, the coin shows moderate circulation, where the high points of Lincoln's hair, forehead, and jaw may appear smooth and less defined from years of handling. The reverse side, including the columns and steps of the memorial, may also lack sharpness and show areas of flatness. However, the major features of the design remain visible, and the date, mint mark, and inscriptions are all readable. This level of preservation is typical for coins that have been in use for several decades. The 1980 for D. Lincoln cent had a very high mintage, with more than 6 billion coins struck at the Denver Mint alone. This makes it one of the more common Lincoln Memorial cents in circulation. Because of this high availability, most examples in good or even very fine condition hold only face value. However, there are rare exceptions, especially when it comes to mint errors or coins in exceptional condition. One of the most notable and sought-after errors from this year is the doubled ear variety on the obverse side. This type of error shows clear doubling on Lincoln's earlobe and is a well-documented and popular variety among collectors. If an example of the 1980 for D cent with this doubled ear error is discovered even in circulated condition, it can be worth significantly more than face value and may range in the hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the severity of the doubling and the overall condition of the coin. For coins in uncirculated condition with a strong strike and full red color, the value can also increase dramatically. High-grade coins that receive a professional grade, such as MS67 red or higher, may sell for values between $500,000 and $700,000 in the high-end collector market if the coin is a top population example or if it has exceptional visual appeal. Such coins are often submitted to major grading companies for certification and encapsulation to preserve their condition and prove authenticity. It is important for collectors to avoid cleaning coins even if they appear dirty or discolored. Cleaning can result in scratches and altered surfaces, which lower a coin's value and can be easily detected by professional graders. Coins should be stored in acid-free holders or albums and handled by the edges to protect the surfaces from oils and moisture. Proper storage helps maintain both the condition and long-term value of the coin. In conclusion, the 1980 D Lincoln 1-cent coin in good condition is a common example of modern United States coinage. While the vast majority hold little more than face value, their historical context and design features make them interesting for collectors and students of American currency. With the potential for rare errors and the possibility of discovering high-grade uncirculated examples, this coin continues to draw attention from those interested in the world of numismatics. Next up we have 1981 D Lincoln 1-cent condition fine. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint, as shown by the small d mint mark located beneath the date on the front side of the coin. The 1981 Lincoln cent belongs to the Lincoln Memorial series, which ran from 1959 to 2008 and features the image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The obverse design was originally created by Victor David Brenner and has been a staple of American coinage since 1909. It shows Abraham Lincoln facing to the right with the words "In God We Trust" inscribed above his head, "Liberty" on the left side, and the year 1981 along with the D mint mark on the right. The reverse of the coin was designed by Frank Gasparo and features the Lincoln Memorial in detailed relief. In this design, the viewer can see the building's columns and in some examples, even the small image of Lincoln's statue seated inside. Above the memorial are the words United States of America, and the motto E pluribus unum is centered just above the memorial structure. Below the image, the denomination 1 cent is written in large clear letters. This reverse honors Lincoln's enduring legacy and reflects his importance in American history. The composition of the 1981 D Lincoln cent is 95% copper and 5% zinc. This was the last full year before the United States Mint switched to copper-plated zinc coins in 1982 to reduce minting costs. The 1981 penny therefore represents one of the final years of the traditional copper-based cent. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams and measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter. This metal composition gives it a distinct weight and sound compared to the later copper-plated zinc versions. In fine condition, the 1981 D penny will show noticeable wear from circulation, but the major features of the design remain clear. On the obverse side, Lincoln's hair facial details and jawline will show signs of smoothing. However, the date and mint mark will remain easily readable, and the rim of the coin will still be mostly intact. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial will show wear, especially on the steps and inner details of the building. Some of the finer elements, like the inner statue or the tops of the columns, may be faint or missing due to wear. The inscriptions and denomination are still clear and visible in fine condition. The Denver Mint produced a large quantity of Lincoln cents in 1981, totaling over 5 billion coins. Because of this high mintage, the coin is very common and remains in wide circulation even today. Most circulated examples have little to no premium above face value and are primarily of interest to collectors who are assembling complete date and mint mark sets of Lincoln cents. However, certain factors can increase the value of a 1981 D penny, such as rare errors, unusual die varieties, or high-grade uncirculated examples. For example, a 1981 D Lincoln cent in mint state condition with full red color and no marks can be worth significantly more than face value. Coins graded MS66 red or higher may attract attention from serious collectors. In cases where the coin is among the finest known examples or has exceptional visual appeal, it may sell in the range of $500,000 to $700,000 in the elite auction market. These high values typically apply to coins that are professionally graded and certified by reputable services and are considered top population examples. There are also some minor varieties and die errors that collectors may look for when examining 1981 D Lincoln cents. These include repunched mint marks, die cracks, and off-center strikes. While most of these are minor and may not carry high value, they can still be interesting additions to a collection and sometimes command a premium depending on their visibility and rarity. Proper handling and storage of copper coins is essential to preserving their condition and long-term value. Even coins in fine condition should be kept in dry acid-free holders or albums and should be handled by the edges to avoid transferring oils or moisture from the skin onto the coin's surface. Cleaning coins is not recommended as it can permanently damage the coin and reduce its collector value. Natural toning and patina are often preferred by collectors over an artificially cleaned surface. In summary, the 1981 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin, in fine condition, is a well-circulated and historically significant piece of American currency. As one of the last years to feature the traditional copper composition, it holds a special place in the timeline of Lincoln cents. While it is very common and usually holds only face value in circulated grades, it can still be an important part of a complete collection and offers the potential for greater value. It exhibits rare errors or is found in exceptional condition. Collectors and coin enthusiasts alike continue to seek out these coins for their beauty, history, and the chance to discover something rare among the millions produced. Next up we have 1970 D. Lincoln 1-cent coin condition circulated. This coin was produced at the Denver Mint, which is indicated by the small letter D placed just below the date on the obverse side. The 1970 Lincoln 1-cent is part of the long-running Lincoln Memorial Reverse Series, which spanned from 1959 to 2008. The obverse of the coin features the right-facing profile of President Abraham Lincoln, which was originally designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. This design has remained one of the most iconic in United States coinage history. Surrounding Lincoln's image are the inscriptions "In God We Trust" across the top, Liberty on the left, and the date 1970 with the D mint mark on the right. On the reverse side, the coin displays the Lincoln Memorial, which was designed by Frank Gasparo. This detailed design includes the columns and steps of the memorial, and in high-quality examples, one may even be able to see the small-seated figure of Lincoln inside the structure. Above the building are the words "United States of America," and just beneath that is the national motto "E Pluribus Unum." At the bottom of the reverse side is the denomination written clearly as 1 cent. This reverse design pays tribute to the memory of Lincoln and his importance in American history. The 1970 D penny was struck in a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams and measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter. This copper-based composition was the standard for Lincoln cents prior to the change to copper-plated zinc in 1982. Because of its copper content, the coin may develop natural toning or patina over time, especially in circulated condition. This toning is not considered damage and may even be seen as desirable by some collectors, as it adds character and shows the coin's age. In circulated condition, the 1970 D. Lincoln cent will display clear signs of wear. On the obverse, Lincoln's hair and facial features will appear smooth and less defined. There may be small nicks or scratches across the surface, and the luster will be completely gone. On the reverse side, the finer elements of the Lincoln Memorial, such as the steps and columns, may show flatness, and some of the detail may be worn away from repeated handling and use in commerce. Despite the wear, the major features, including the inscriptions and overall layout of the design, remain fully visible and intact. The Denver Mint produced a very large number of 1970 D Lincoln cents, with a mintage of over 2.5 billion coins. Because of this massive quantity, the coin is very common and is frequently found in circulated rolls and old change jars. In circulated condition, the coin typically holds only face value and is of interest mainly to beginning collectors or those assembling date and mint mark sets. However, there are exceptions to this general value, particularly when it comes to high-grade uncirculated coins or rare errors. For example, if a 1970 D Lincoln cent is discovered in a mint state grade with full red color and no contact marks, it could be worth a substantial amount to collectors. High-end examples graded MS67 red or better by professional grading companies can command very high prices at auction. In the rarest cases where the coin is virtually flawless and among the top examples known to exist, the value can reach between $500,000 and $700,000. These top-tier coins are highly sought after by elite collectors and investors who specialize in registry sets and finest known examples. There are also error coins known from this year and mint, which can bring higher values. These include off-center strikes, die cracks, double dies, and clipped plankets. While many of these errors are minor, some may be dramatic and valuable depending on the nature of the error and the overall condition of the coin. Collectors often seek out these unusual coins to add variety and uniqueness to their collections. 2. Preserve a circulated 1970 penny, and any potential value it might have. Collectors should store the coin properly. This includes using coin flips folders or holders that are acid-free and keeping the coin in a dry and stable environment. Even though circulated coins do not have the same value as uncirculated ones, protecting them from further damage is important. For historical and educational purposes, it is also strongly advised not to clean any coin regardless of its condition, as this can damage the surface and significantly reduce any numismatic value. In conclusion, the 1970 Lincoln 1-cent coin in circulated condition is a common example of American coinage from the early 70s. While it is widely available and usually worth only its face value in circulated state, it still holds interest for those who appreciate history and numismatics. The coin represents a period of American coin design that continues to fascinate collectors and provides opportunities to learn more about minting processes and coin varieties. Whether as part of a growing collection or as a piece of everyday history, the 1970 penny remains a small but meaningful artifact from the past. Next up we have 1971 Lincoln 1-cent coin, condition bad on the front side. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint, which is identified by the small letter D located just below the date on the front of the coin. The obverse design features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln facing right, a design originally created by Victor David Brenner in 1909 and carried forward through decades of United States coinage. Around the portrait are the inscriptions "In God We Trust" at the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the year 1971 with the D mint mark on the right side. On this particular coin, the front side is in bad condition, which means the details of Lincoln's face and hair may be heavily worn, scratched, or unclear due to age and circulation. The reverse of the coin continues the Lincoln Memorial design that began in 1959 and continued until 2008, designed by Frank Gasparo. The reverse shows a depiction of the Lincoln Memorial Building in Washington, D.C. with clear architectural elements like steps, columns, and in well-preserved coins, even the statue of Lincoln inside the building. The words "United States of America" are curved across the top, and the national motto "E Pluribus Unum" is shown above the image of the memorial. Below the memorial, the denomination 1 cent is written clearly in a coin with where the fine details of the building may be flat and faint, and some letters may appear weak, but they are usually still identifiable. The coin is made of a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc, which was standard for Lincoln cents before the transition to a copper-plated zinc alloy in 1982. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. Because of its copper content, the coin may have developed patina or natural darkening over the years, especially in areas that have seen a lot of contact or exposure to moisture. In a coin described as being in bad condition on the front side, it is likely that discoloration, pitting, or damage from environmental exposure may be visible across the obverse. The Denver Mint produced a large number of Lincoln cents in 1971, totaling over 2.8 billion coins. Due to this high mintage, the 1971 penny is considered very common and is regularly found in old jars, rolls, and change collections. In heavily circulated or damaged condition, such as with this particular example, The coin usually holds only its face value. However, collectors who are building complete year and mint mark sets often include even the most worn examples as placeholders until higher quality versions are found. Even in bad condition, certain 1971D Lincoln cents can have interest to collectors if they feature unusual mint errors or varieties. Some known varieties for this year include coins struck off center die cracks, repunched mint marks, and examples struck on improper plankets. These errors can sometimes be valuable depending on how dramatic they are and whether the rest of the coin details can be confirmed. In rare cases, even a coin with surface damage or frontside weakness could carry higher value. It includes a strong and rare error type. Coins of this type that are in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially with a full red color and no marks, can be worth significantly more. Certified coins graded MS67 red or higher are considered very rare and sought after by collectors who compete in registry sets or focus on finest known examples. A top-quality 1971D penny could be valued between $500,000 and $700,000 if it is in extraordinary condition and considered among the best surviving examples. However, such high values apply only to coins that are professionally graded and meet very strict quality standards. For circulated and worn coins, like this one, even though they do not command high values, they can still serve as a useful educational tool or part of a basic collection. They represent a period of American minting history and the long-running legacy of the Lincoln cent. Coins in poor condition can be stored in basic coin folders or to buy to holders to prevent further damage and to help preserve them for historical purposes. They should be kept dry and away from chemicals or cleaning products that could cause further harm. In summary, the 1971D Lincoln 1-cent coin in bad condition on the front side is a well-worn piece of American coinage with visible signs of use and environmental impact. Though it is common and not typically valuable in this state, it remains a small part of history that continues to be recognized for its connection to President Lincoln and its place in the long tradition of United States coin design. Whether saved as part of a larger collection or simply appreciated as a reminder of past decades, this coin holds meaning beyond its monetary value. Next up we have 1980D Lincoln 1-cent condition, bad and red shade. This coin was minted at the Denver Mint, which is shown by the small letter D located just below the date on the obverse side. Like other Lincoln cents of its era, the 1980D penny features the familiar right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front. This design, created by Victor David Brenner in 1909, is one of the most recognized in American coinage. Around Lincoln's image are the words "In God We Trust" across the top, Liberty to the left, and the year 1980, along with the D mint mark to the right side of the portrait. On this particular coin, the obverse is in bad condition with wear and signs of circulation, yet it still shows a red shade, which suggests it retains some of its original mint color, especially on areas that have not been exposed heavily. The reverse of the coin carries the Lincoln Memorial design, which was created by Frank Gasparo and introduced in 1959. This image shows the structure with steps and tall columns, and in higher condition coins, you can see the tiny seated figure of Lincoln inside. Above the memorial are the words United States of America, and directly underneath that is the national motto E Pluribus Unum. The words 1 cent appear at the bottom. In coins with where the reverse often shows, smoothing on the steps and details of the columns may fade, but in this coin, even with its bad condition, some traces of its original red shade may remain around the protected parts of the design, such as within the letters or near the edges. The 1980D Lincoln cent was struck in a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc. It weighs about 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. This was before the major change in 1982, when the United States Mint shifted to a copper-plated zinc alloy to reduce costs. The copper in the 1980D coin gives it a richer color tone and often leads to a red or brown appearance over time. In this example, the coin still shows a red shade, which is usually a sign of lesser exposure to air and humidity, even if the coin has some damage or has been in circulation. Over 5.1 billion Lincoln cents were produced with the D-Mint mark in 1980, making this coin very common in both circulated and uncirculated conditions. Because of the high mintage, most examples of this coin, especially in circulated or damaged condition, have little numismatic value beyond their historical interest. However, red shade coins, especially those with their original luster and minimal wear, can attract collector attention, particularly if they have no scratches or marks. In bad condition, though, even with red shade, the coin would typically be valued at or near face value unless it has unique attributes. One exception to the standard valuation could be if this coin displays a mint error. Error coins such as off-center strikes, double die breaks, or wrong planchette strikes can increase a coin's value considerably depending on the visibility and rarity of the error. Collectors often pay extra attention to 1980 D-cents looking for such variations, since the large mintage makes it possible for errors to slip through unnoticed during production. Even a coin with surface wear may be considered collectible if the error is clear and well-defined. In the highest grades, the 1980 D Lincoln cent with full red color and perfect surfaces can bring high prices at auction, especially when certified by major grading services. A coin in mint state 68 red with no visible flaws would be among the best surviving examples and could be worth between $500,000 and $700,000 to high-end collectors focused on top population coins. These coins are rare and represent only a small fraction of all those minted in that year at that location. For the average coin like this one in bad condition with red shade, it is best to store it carefully to prevent further deterioration. A soft non-acidic holder or album will help protect the coin and reduce exposure to moisture or air that could change its color or cause corrosion. It is important never to clean a coin, especially one made of copper, since cleaning can destroy the surface and greatly reduce its value even if it is already worn. In conclusion, the 1980 D Lincoln 1-cent coin in bad condition with red shade is a common yet historical example of United States coinage from the late 20th century. Its worn state shows it has circulated and served its role in everyday transactions, yet the red shade hints at its original appearance when it left the mint. While it is not considered valuable in its current condition unless it includes a significant error, it remains a meaningful piece for collectors who appreciate the history and design of Lincoln cents. Whether part of a beginner's collection or simply preserved as a reminder of the past, this coin still holds a place in the long story of American currency.